This brain cake flavor is a fitting red velvet with cream cheese frosting. So I started by stacking 3 8-inch round layers of cake. The first thing that I did to carve the brain shape was I looked at the cake from the top and cut down the sides of the cake. And then I used my serrated knife to round out any sharp corners. So at this point, I'm really only worried about the correct shape from that top view first, and then I started to carve the side view. To do that, I just rounded out the top and bottom edges. The only other sculpting of the cake that I needed to do was that I noticed that the sides of the brain have these deeper creases, so I carved those. And then also there's a large crease that goes down the center of the brain, and that defines the left and right sides. Once the cake is carved, I covered the entire thing in a thin layer of cream cheese frosting. This is called a crumb coat. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever been told that humans only use 10% of our brains? Because of this cake, I found out that that's actually not true. We actually use most of our brains. I have been bamboozled. Now that the cake is covered in frosting, I place it in the fridge to chill, and I start working on the modeling chocolate. Here I'm rolling out modeling chocolate into these really long coils. If you prefer to use fondant, that's totally okay. Modeling chocolate or fondant will work for this. Then you take the cake out of the fridge, and now it's time to start decorating. This is really fun because there isn't really any rhyme or reason to placing these coils onto the cake. I placed chocolate on at about every inch or so. I started to curve the coil in a different direction. So it's just all wound up and swirly. It's really fun. It's almost like a simple puzzle. I had to make sure that all the coils fit together, but it's not super difficult to do, so it was almost therapeutic. Every once in a while I would push down on that modeling chocolate. It would flatten it out a little bit, which looked more like a brain, but also it helped to make sure that the chocolate is secure on the cake. So you're gonna do this until the entire cake is covered in coils. Dave, Side Surf, he is my husband, and he is also the other half of Side Surf Cake Studio. So he does all the baking. And I wanted to mention him because he is the one who made this glorious red goo. So what he did is he reduced frozen strawberries with some water and sugar, and then he ran that sauce through a mesh strainer, and that took out all the seeds. And then he slightly thickened the sauce with a cornstarch slurry. Then he handed it off to me once it was at room temperature. I then brushed the sauce onto the cake with a pastry brush. And let me tell you, this stuff smelled absolutely delicious. I love a good strawberry sauce. You can really see all the sauce kind of filling into those cracks. It looks so cool. And it's so simple. And there you have it, a brain cake. Brains.